Hi there, my name is Jason Schmaltz and I'm an AMGA single pitch instructor, and today I'm going to share with you one of the most common knots in climbing, which is called the Bowline knot. And hey, if you really like our content and enjoy this video, please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to boost up our subscriber count and get the channel a little bit more exposure, so if you appreciate the educational videos, I appreciate the subscribe. So the Bowline knot is primarily used for setting up anchors, specifically natural anchors with a tree or something like that. And typically the way that you are going to tie a bowline is with a static rope, because you're setting up a top rope anchor where the bolted anchors don't exist, and you don't want there to be a lot of stretching as that top rope anchor is loaded and unloaded. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to tie the bowline, and there's a couple reasons why it's superior to this application, which I'm going to share with you. So first, let me share with you the standard way to tie a bowline. So you're going to take your working end of rope and tie it around, or loop it around the tree or natural anchor. And I like to try to keep it low for two reasons. Firstly, from a torquing perspective, it's less torque on the tree if it's lower. Now on a big tree like this, it doesn't really matter. It's going to hold the load no matter what. But the second reason is if it's up high and the vector is pulling downward toward an anchor over there, there's a chance that it could slide down like that and tear the tree up. So we don't want to do that or mess up the location of our top rope anchor. So I like to just keep it low and go from there. Now the way that you tie this knot is, again, I have my working end now toward me because I've looped around, and I have the non-working end closer to the camera. And the way that you're going to tie this is you're going to take the non-working end and you're going to make a loop with the strand from the tree on top. Okay, so you see how I've made the loop. The loop is on the inside and the strand from the tree is on top. Okay, and then I'm going to take the working end and go through the loop that I just made from the bottom. Okay, so I'll pull that through. Okay, and I can kind of help locate where I want the knot from this point. Okay, so you see I have this working end that's gone through the loop from the bottom to the top. And now I'm going to go around the non-working end below it with the working end. Okay, so I go around and then take this working end and go back through the loop the way that I came. So I came from the bottom up, so now I'm going to go back to the loop from the top down. And you'll see as I start to finish this knot, you see it kind of looks like a tongue coming out of a mouth, and that's exactly what you want to look for with the bowline. Okay, so that's the knot proper right there. And I'll show you a couple advantages of this knot before I finish it with an overhand. Firstly, as compared to a figure eight follow through, I didn't have to guess where the knot was going to be. I could loop the rope around the tree and then locate the knot properly with the loop that I just showed you. The second thing that's beneficial about this knot is if I want to adjust things now, I can very easily. So what I want to do is I want to look at the non-working end and then the strand that went around the tree, and I can make this knot move closer or further from the tree as much as I want. So if I want the knot to move further away from the tree, I can pull some of the non-working rope through the tongue. And you can see now I have this big loop, and I can feed that around the tree like that. Okay, and then finish up my knot again. Okay, and you can see now the knot is further away. Okay, likewise, if I want to make the knot get closer, I'll take that strand that went around the tree and I'll feed, or I can even pull the slack back through that loop, and I can actually get it pretty close. and then pull that slack through the tongue back out to the non-working end. And the way that I make this knot tight, once I got the loop where I want it to be, or I'm sorry, the knot where I want it to be, is I take the non-working end and the working end and I pull those both tight. And now you can see it's easy to check the bowline's tied correctly because you have a loop and then a tongue. And that's exactly what you want. And the working end is going back toward the tree. Now I don't want to leave this knot just by itself. I want to back it up, and the proper way to back up a bowline is to tie an overhand. So I have this nice long piece of working end of the rope. So I can go ahead and tie an overhand. It's just a single overhand is fine. Okay. Now the key is, as I start to finish this overhand, I want it to be as close to the bowline as I can. So I'll pull the working end as much as I can through and get that knot as close to the bowline as I can. And you can see that's butted up pretty well against it. And I can pull that tight, and this knot is now ready to go. Another way to tie the bowline is with the shorthand method, which is a little bit different from the standard method, but really helps on time, especially if you have to tie a lot of these throughout the day. So again, you'll take the working end, you'll go around the tree. Okay, I'll have plenty of working end left. And then, remember how last time I made the loop with the tree strand over the top? But instead, this time I want to do the opposite. I want to make the loop with the working end, or the non-working end over the top, just like that. And then I want to take the non-working end again and come up through the bottom of that loop to make another loop, okay? And then I'll take the working end of the rope and I'll come through that new loop from the back. And this is where I want to locate my knot, exactly where I want it. Okay, and then when I go to pull this knot tight, I'll take the working end and non-working end and pull them against one another and tight. So you can see the working end is now going to go back toward the tree. And as I pull it tight, watch how this knot wants to flip over. See how it flipped over like that? If it doesn't do that by itself, you can help it by just flicking your hand over it, and that'll help it to flip over. And you can see when I look at this knot now, it doesn't really look like a bowline, but that's because I flipped it. So the bowline, or the tongue part of the bowline, is on the bottom. So if I turn it over, I can see there's my loop, and there's my tongue, okay? From there, I could adjust it again, just like I showed you before. Same method, but once I have the knot where I want it, I finish with my overhand. Again, I want the overhand as close to the bowline as I can get it. And you can see that's really nice and close. And now I'm ready to go. Okay, the last variation of this knot is tying the knot in the middle of the rope. And if you're tying multiple bowlines on one rope, which is inevitable if you're trying to build a top rope system, you're going to have to do this. So you find the middle of the rope wherever you want to tie it and go ahead and make a bite. Okay, now this will become my working end. Okay, and I'll wrap the bite around the tree. And now if I'm going to tie it the standard way, I can do it exactly how I did before, only it's 2 strands of rope in every place. So I have the non-working strand, which I'll make a loop. If I'm tying it the standard way, the top of the loop is from the tree. And then my bite is my working end, which comes up from the bottom, like that. And then goes around the non-working end from the bottom, comes back over, it goes back down through the loop the way it came. And you can see there's my tongue right there, okay? And I can adjust this as needed. Again, to pull it tight, you take the non-working and working end, pull tight, okay? And then finish with an overhand, in this case an overhand on a bite, as close to the bowline as you can, okay? Similar to the quick method with a single strand, you can also do that with a double strand or a bight of rope. And this is actually easier to tie the double or the bight method of the bowline with the simple method or the abbreviated method by going around the tree. And remember, this time with the quick method, we are not going to loop with the tree strand on top, but actually the opposite. We want the working strand on top like that. And then we take the working strand again, and that comes up through that loop we just made to make a new loop. Okay. And then we take our working end, pass that through the new loop, just like that. Locate the knot about where we want. Start to pull it tight, non-working end, working end, pulling tight. Look how the knot wants to flip. I'll help it. Okay. And then remember, the bowline, the tongue is on the bottom. There it is right there. Okay. And I'll finish with an overhand, or overhand on a bight. There we go. And now I'm ready to go. Hey, I hope you found that video useful on the bowline. Leave in the comments any questions you have or any other ideas you have for using a bowline. And look forward to seeing you out on the crag. Hey, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and like this video. I really appreciate it. Thanks.